is not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Tyrone Lowe. Hello, everyone. This is Tyrone Lowe. This is my show, The Legends, and I have a special guest, DJ, producer, Thommy Davis. What's going on, Thommy?
What's up, Tom, man? It's an honor to be here, man. I couldn't wait for this day, for this whole interview.
All right. So we're going to tell the viewers exactly how did you get started with the industry as far as DJing and producing?
Well, I'm a humble guy. I mean, I started off working in a record store. And I worked in a popular record store here in Baltimore. And for years, I sold all the DJs music. And then I produced my own record label. And that just started it off.
Okay. So who influenced you as being a DJ?
Just the whole disco era. I was one of the early ones watching DJs on the level of Larry Levan. We have a DJ here called Wayne Davis. And I'm old enough to remember seeing go from one turntable to having two turntables. And then that fascinated me. And still to this day, I'm still a DJ.
So the transition from back to then, talk about that. I mean, because I started back in like a disco era. We had the 1200s, and now we're using more modern technology. So let's talk about, your transition.
Well, it was a good one. I mean, I went from vinyl, which I loved. I love vinyl. That's why while I was in college, I worked in a record store to sell vinyl. And then I transitioned over to CDs. And then that was a little different because there's nothing like that feel of vinyl, on your hand and 1200s. And then I went from CDs to digital. Now, I love digital. It's kind of unchanging. You can do things. I can produce live on the spot.
And so, as far as your career, what was the highlight of your career doing, from that beginning point to now? Because everybody has a highlight, a memorable, thing that they remember that actually just made them say, wow. You know what I mean? So I'm sure you have one.
Well, it was going to the Grammys. And walking down the red carpet, it was a wow moment. Here's a kid from Baltimore that believed in this thing called underground dance music. And here I am in California walking down a red carpet. And that was a wow moment.
So let me ask you a question. They say that 85% of house music, dance music is gay, right? And the straight people, don't really have a problem with that. But what would you say the transition as far as the popularity, the community itself? How would you actually, reframe that? How would you think? What do you think about that?
Well, it used to be a bad connotation on the music because the gay clubs used to be the ones that would break this new sound. I mean, early back in the day, radio was radio and club music was club music. So the gay clubs were more adventuresome. So, they would go find these records and these records would become popular. Hence, people started identifying it with it. But in Baltimore, eventually, after the great epidemic of HIV and AIDS, that scene disappeared. And still, it was adopted, and it got rid of that negative connotation that it was a gay club or gay music, which they used to say. They used to say, you like the gay music.
So let me ask you a question, man. I always ask DJs this. You ever did a gig and never got paid for it?
Yes. Oh, yes. And I never did another one for them. I never did another one for them.
So how did you feel at that point, man? Because we all go through that trend. We all go through that trend.
Well, it's, the house is a community. So I took it more personal because the person was, supposed to be looking out for me. I'm doing it for them. And then at the end, they pay the bartender, the doorman, the guy with the mop and the broom, but tell me I'm short. It's like, wait a minute. None of them would have a job if I wasn't doing my job.
Right.
So it was, the DJs are the less paid in the whole entertainment industry. We're the ones considered, they put us up in the corner way up somewhere, and they sit in the glory and the money, and we sit at the end of the night, they come just peel off a couple and say, here, thank you, like we was just a CD.
Wow. And so my question to you is that during the height of your career and transitioning from a DJ to a producer, what made you actually elevate yourself to that point?
Well, I'm kind of a really, really excited kind of guy. So when I was doing the record stores, I was the same guy. So when I noticed that the more attention that came, the more I became the star, the more the tech and the music, than this new idea of a career arose. Okay. This is a career as a DJ. I'm not playing in my basement with Christmas lights anymore. I'm kind of a DJ. And so I kind of kept going on it. And now I'm kind of Broadway with it, with, green screens and effects and all this kind of stuff. So the thing is, that's just for me. There's still the average DJ that, wants to sit calmly. I wanted to take it to another level. I wanted to see it as a performance. And that's how I see myself now. The music is the music, and I'm a performer.
Okay. So of all the songs, we have millions of songs and stuff. What would you consider your national anthem as a DJ?
Because I made it? Or
somebody else, whoever.
Lift Every Voice was Mass Order, and that record kind of says it all. It's Lift Every Voice, and the words, it's all about house music and the attitude and Take Me Away and Lift Up Your Voice. It's kind of similar to the Negro National Anthem, but in a dance way. So it means a lot. It's one of the few records that might make me cry when I'm playing it, because I've been doing this for 40 years, and who knew that I would be doing this that long?
As a DJ producer, at a point of your life in your career, if you did something, what would you do to actually correct it and do it all over again?
What would I do to correct it and do it all again? I can't think of that.
We all had a final journey, in our career, and we did something, and we knew that it wasn't our full potential, and we wish that we can actually do it again, to give us self-satisfaction. What would that be for you?
If I would have stayed in England. A couple of times I went to the UK, I just felt like that was home. And many, many artists in many, many genres go overseas and get so much love that at home you don't get. So when I got over there, I realized that they know who I am, and I'm in my hometown. I could walk down the street, they don't know who I am. So
we all go through that.
Was like, well, okay, maybe I should move, and I didn't.
Okay. So let's talk about your music. You have some fantastic stuff, and let's tell the viewers about your first track that you ever put in production.
Wow. The first one was a record called Get the Hole.
Tommy, you cool, man. You cool. So tell them about it. How did you actually come across it? Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to try to narrow it down because this story can get long. But all right. Well, I was working in a record store, and house music in Baltimore was starting to become really, really not underground. Starting to become, you hear it at wedding receptions, you hear it at the end of the night after they play with all the other Gladys Knight and line dance records, you heard house music. Mm-hmm. So, an early young DJ Spin came in the record store, and he DJed, and he was a cut master, baddest cut master. And the store was a kind of performance thing. So you could watch the DJ. So one day he came back with a tape. And the tape on it had a cut with Mortal Romance on it, edited with him and his boys doing the beats and the drums. And this was when the house was new. The house was like 2 years old. Right. And I dared them to clean it up, do this, do that to it to make it fit, because they were too young to be in clubs. And I put it out on a dare from a cassette. And this record went worldwide.
Wow. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, it's amazing. I'm still with that guy.
I hear that. What we're going to do now, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come right back. And stay tuned, you guys, for Thommy Davis. He'll be right back.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
We got some fun people in the house tonight.
This is our house.
Hello, everyone. This is Tyrone Lowe. We're back with the show, The Legends, and I'm the producer and host. And we have the legendary Thommy Davis. Hey, Thommy.
Hey, Ty. Hey, fam out there. Hey.
My question to you is that we have a lot, technology has changed, due to the fact of we were more manual back in the days, with vinyl, carrying the speakers, doing feedback, going to the record pools and things of that nature. My question to you is, for the new guys that's actually getting to the craft of actually DJing and producing, do you have any advice for them?
I have several. I kind of like to talk to them because of technology, they kind of miss something in the construction of a song, and it's so easy to not know it anymore. So I always tell new ones, listen, learn the music, understand why you like the record, understand the parts of the record, the intro, the chorus, the outro, and those things. Once you learn those things, music is really a mathematical thing. And most of the time, most records fit in that mathematical formula. So instead of just throwing records you like, if you think about it and study the record, you can actually make it work where your audience will go, wow, how'd you do that? So that I always tell new people on the scene. It's not so much about vinyl. It's not so much about digital. It's about the study. And I learned this from Mandrill from DC, is that, music has parts on it. So on vinyl days, we used to look at the grooves. You know what I mean? You knew where to drop the needle. You could tell what it was. You could tell your favorite part. But we had to make the breaks back then. Nowadays, you can just hit a button and it'll be on the break. So that is an advantage. But if you don't know why you're doing it, then it's not an advantage. You're just a kid playing on a big computer.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Your transition from vinyl to CDJs, has it actually made you better, or has it lessened you in your craft, or is it something moderation?
It's made me healthier. Those records was killing my back.
I hear you, Sal.
Most clubs always had the DJ booth like up in a corner or up a ladder in a booth. And I'm carrying 5 bags of records.
Right.
Even at my younger age, that hurt. To take them in, and at the end of the night, you have to take them back. What it did moving forward is that now I'm a chess player, more of a chess player. And I used to do it in vinyl, juggle records, juggle to make it work because, we mess with the pitch and we put our finger on it or we do whatever. The digital thing made it so that you can create live. You should never sound the same. Because you have the ability to do almost anything to a thing. Well, we have records. We didn't have that.
Okay.
We knew what records, we might put little numbers on BPMs or whatever on it, but we didn't have that. Now in dance, everything is almost the same tempo. You should have no reason at all to have a problem.
So let's talk about your new track. Let's talk about actually, how did you come about that? How do you feel about it? And what are you actually trying to express through it?
Well, Spin, my partner, DJ Spin, thought that it was time for me to step out of the shadows. And so I did my first solo album. And all I did is ask all the people that I've worked with over the years would you do this? And they happily and honorably did it. And this album, I didn't want to make it any new music. I wanted it to be a tribute to the music that I love. And Spin and I could take it and almost duplicate the sound with new players, which I didn't want to make. You can't do a classic if you don't do it right.
Right, exactly.
Kind of dishonor it, right? So it took 3 or 4 years to make this thing fit to every aspect of it. Was a classic. That was the greatest thing that happened. The record stayed #1 for a long time. I was shocked because I'm kind of a humble guy, but it really did. It broke some barriers for me where now I'm officially an artist, and I'm an artist DJ, and I'm an artist. So I can't wait to do another one. I mean, I'm constantly working. I mean, Quantize, we put out 2 records a week.
Right. I even got a shirt printed up with Quantized. I don't know if you've seen it or not. I just had to go get one.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a fear of competition out here now?
No. Because I've always been the odd guy. So I'm the guy that I didn't care. I always wanted to be a David Bowie, Grace Jones. I always wanted to be the odd. I didn't want to be part of a pack. I couldn't. I don't know how to do that. So that the competition, no. And honestly, when I play, I have to make sure that they put me on the end because my energy is banging energy. And if I'm playing with someone else that's playing a different vibe, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of makes it seem competitive, but it's not.
Right.
You know.
If you had to do a club right now,
Mm-hmm.
who would you want to be your partner?
To own a club?
No, not to own a club, to play in the club. If you had to play in the club and they had somebody else to play with you, who would you actually desire to play with you?
Spin.
Okay.
Where energy is kind of hype like that.
Right.
And I like a happier hype. You know what I mean? Some people are more solemn, more, in kind of mellowy. I like a happier kind of, right. I can't keep up to the energy like old days. Like I want to sweat. I want to do this. I want to circle people out of the way.
I hear that. So Thommy, yes. How has the pandemic been to you, man? I mean.
The epidemic?
Yes.
The pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
I am stuck in the house. The most difficult thing is trying to do studio sessions because there has to be someone that trusts that they can keep the microphones and equipment clean. You have to trust that the people, if they're aware of something, that they have to tell. Say, hey, listen, I should be in quarantine because once it could domino to everyone else. So they are rare and they're few. So this period is really, really hard. My whole DJ career has gone out the door. So 90% of income gone.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Gone. Where I should be at the height. We're having an album that globally went #1. I should be on tour. I should be doing all these things or once in a lifetime thing. And it's not happening. So fortunately, I'm a spiritually led man and what God has planned. So
right.
I have to go with that. It's like, this is the worst time in my life when something I've been working on my life for, going through majors, going through everything. And now this is the first time I'm a solo guy with my friends on an album. And we should be feet all over the world.
Right. So any shout outs to anyone?
I would get too many. I would miss out.
But let's give some a shout out. Let's give some props.
All right. I'm gonna start off with, of course, my peeps at Quantize. That's DJ Spin, his lovely wife, and also handles contracts and so much more. Quantize Kelly and Candace, who handles our A&R, and Mike Freak and DJ Freeze and. Now I can go to producers, Gary Hudge, Real Soul, Mark Francis, Timmy Regisford. I can go to friends and dancers. Hey, Lisa, because, to me, they're my center. They're always there for me. Hey, Kitty. Hey, so many more that kind of lift you up and keep you going through this kind of difficult period. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard. So the live things is close. But it's those friends that give you music or are always there supporting you. So, yeah, I can keep shouting on for a long time.
I hear you.
And let me think for a second. I don't miss nobody. Neil Conway.
Okay. Well, Thommy, it's been a pleasure to have you on my show.
Oh, man. I'm glad.
And I'm very flattered, man. And viewers, he's been very informative. He has some music out, guys. Get out there and get it. Support the brother. We have sweat and tears in the studio, and we put on all that energy. And we'd like to go out there and y'all just get out there and embrace us, just by listening to it, buy it, and supporting us. Thommy, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, man.
And this has been another T-Love video production. My name is Tyrone Lowe, and stay tuned for another episode of The Legends.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
My assignment, my calling is to inspire, uplift, You have to make sure your people are partying.
All I want to do is just bring joy to the dance floor and watch people dance.
T-No.